Now we're in chapter 5.4 and we're going to be looking at converting units of length in the US system as well as the metric system. The US units of length are the following. We have 12 inches the same as 1 foot, 3 feet is the same as a yard, 36 inches gives us a yard, and then 5,280 feet gives us a mile. To convert from one unit into another unit, we're going to be using unit fractions. They gave us a few examples, but the most important thing to remember is how to set up your unit fraction. A unit fraction is set up where the units I'm converting to will go on the top and my original units will go on the bottom. So for example, let's say I wanted to go from feet into inches. So from feet into inches. Then I will use the following unit fraction. And this is because the units I want to convert to are inches, and my original units are feet. So again, the units you're converting to goes up top, and the original units go on the bottom. Let's say I was going from yards into feet. Then I'll use the following unit fraction. This time, the units I'm interested in are feet, and the units I'm coming from are yards. Let's go on our book to page 394. We're going to look at the following problems, starting with number 1. The instructions say convert each measurement as indicated, and for number 1 we have 60 inches into feet. So 60 inches, and we want to convert that to feet. So I'm going to start with my 60 inches. And I'm going to multiply this by a unit fraction. Now the units up top will be the units I'm interested in, which will be feet. And on the bottom will be the units, my original units, which are inches. And then using my converting numbers, either you're using your formula sheet or your conversion sheet, or you have these memorized. But we know 1 foot is the same as 12 inches. So that means that 60 is over 1. So 60 times 1 divided by 1 times 12. So you can have it as 60 over 12. The inches, they cancel out, and the feet only stay. And of course we can simplify 60 over 12, and that is 5 feet. So again, take the value they give you and multiply it by a unit fraction. The units up top will be the ones you're converting to, and the units on the bottom are your original units. Alright, number 5. We have 42,240 feet into miles. So 42,240 feet to miles. So let's start with the value they gave us, the 42,240 feet. We're going to multiply it by a unit fraction. The units for the unit fraction, well, on the top we're going to have the miles. That's what we're converting to. And on the bottom we're going to have the feet. And now we're just going to fill in the values. So we know 1 mile is the same as 5,280 feet. Remember, there's a 1 underneath this number. We can multiply straight across, and we'll get the 42,240 divided by 5,280. Remember, your feet, they cancel out, leaving you only with miles. And of course we can simplify this, and it comes out to be 8 miles. And then number 13. It says 162 inches to yards, and it says write your answer as a decimal. So we have 162 inches, and we're going to convert this into yards. So we're going to start the value they gave us, was the 162 inches, and we're going to multiply it by a unit fraction. The units up top are going to be the one I'm interested in, so yards, and the units on the bottom will be the inches. And we know that for 1 yard there are 36 inches. And then we're going to multiply straight across. 162 times 1, well, that's still 162, divided by 36. The inches cancel out, leaving us with yards. And remember, we can simplify this and we get 4.5. And then don't forget the yards. Let's keep going. Let's look at number 17. It says convert each measurement as indicated. And for number 17, it says 40 feet, and we're going to convert it into yards, and then we also have some feet left over. So 40 feet, and we have a blank, and then yards, and then a blank, and feet. So unlike number 13, where they wanted us to write a decimal answer, we actually have to tell them how many feet are remaining after we convert into our yards. So we're going to start with our 40 feet. And we're converting, so remember we're going to multiply it by a unit fraction. The units on the top are going to be yards, because that's what I'm going into, and then feet for the bottom. And remember, there are 1 yard is going to be the same as 3 feet. Remember, there's a 1 underneath here, so we can do 40 times 1, which is 40, over 1 times 3, which is 3. So then 40 divided by 3 gives us 13.3. However, you just want to write the whole number, and the whole number is 13, and that's going to be yards. Remember, the feet cancel out, and we're left with yards. So we know we have 13 yards. However, because of the decimal part, we know we have a remainder. So you can say, well, what is 13 times 3? Because remember, there's 3 feet in a yard. Well, 13 times 3, that's 39. So that's 39 yards. I'm sorry, that's 39 feet. Then remember, we started with 40 feet. So if we started with 40 and we have 39, that means we have 1 foot left over. So this is 13 yards and a foot. We're going to try number 23. This time we have 5 feet and 2 inches. And we're converting into inches. So the 2 inches, we don't have to convert that. That's already in my units. But the 5 feet, it has to be converted. So we have our 5 feet. And we're multiplying by the unit fraction. The units up top will be inches. And on the bottom will be feet. And we know there's 12 inches and a foot. This time, we're just going to multiply straight across. So 5 times 12, well, that's 60. Remember, the feet cancel out, leaving us with the inches. But then do not forget the other 2 inches, so we're going to add these together. And 5 feet, 2 inches was the same as saying 62 inches. All right, number 29. Now it says perform each indicated operation. Simplify the result if possible. And for 29, we have 3 feet, 10 inches. And we're adding to it 7 feet, 4 inches. So remember to line up your units. So we got 3 feet, and then we have our 10 inches. And we're going to say plus 7 feet and 4 inches. So adding straight down, we have our 14 inches, and then we have our 10 feet. And before we can say this is our final answer, remember that we know that 12 inches is the same as saying 1 foot. So I'm going to subtract the 12 inches here, and that'll leave me with 2 inches. However, 12 inches is the same as saying 1 foot. Therefore, I'm going to take this foot and add it to the 10, and I get 11 feet. So the final answer is 11 feet, 2 inches. And then number 35. It says 18 feet, 3 inches, minus 10 feet, 9 inches. This time we're subtracting. However, we cannot do 3 minus 9, so we need to borrow. We're going to borrow from the 18 feet. If we borrow from it, we're going to take away 1 whole foot, which makes this 17 feet. However, we're going to do more than just add 1 to 3. Remember, there are 12 inches in a foot, so I'm going to add 12, instead. So 12 plus 3 makes this 15 inches. Now we have 15 minus 9, which is 6, and then 17 minus 10, which is 7. So we get 7 feet, 6 inches. Now we moved on to the metric system, where we're going to be converting units of length. In the metric system, we have the kilometer, the hectometer, the decameter, the meter, the decimeter, the centimeter, and the millimeter. When converting in the metric system, all you need to do is technically move your decimal a certain number of places, either to the left or to the right. So here's an example. We're going to convert 450,000 millimeters into meters. So the first thing we're going to do is locate the millimeters, which is here. And we want to go over to meters. Therefore, we're going to count how many times we basically jump until we get to meters. So we got 1, 2, and then 3. So you need to move your decimal 3 places to the left. So remember, your decimal is at the end of the number, and if we move it, we go 1, 2, 3, and that's where your new decimal will be. So 450,000 millimeters is the same as saying 450 meters. Let's look at problem 41, and again it says convert, and we have 60 meters, and we're converting it into centimeters. So go ahead and locate the centimeters. So let me rewrite it again. So we have our kilometer, our hectometer, okay, so let's locate meters, and we're going to convert over to centimeters. So we need to count how many places. So starting at meters, we're going to go over to centimeters. So we got 1, 2. So we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right. So we have our 60. Remember, the decimal is at the end. So we're going to go 1, 2. And this is our new decimal. Use zeros as placeholders. And we end up with 6,000 centimeters. And the number 47. This time we have 1,700 millimeters into meters. So again, let us locate the millimeters, and we're going to travel over to meters. So we're going to go 1, and then 2, and then 3. So we're going to move the decimal 3 places to the left. The decimal is at the end, so we got 1, 2, 3. And this is going to become 1.7 meters. And then number 55. We have 8.3 centimeters, and we're going to convert this into millimeters. So again, locate your centimeters, and we're going to count how many places it takes us to get over to our millimeters. So starting here, we're going to go 1, and we're at millimeters, so that's 1 decimal place to the right. So 8.3, move it 1 decimal to the right, and this is 83 millimeters. And then number 61. It says perform each indicated operation. Remember to insert units when writing your answers. And for number 61, we have 8.6 meters plus 0.34 meters. So they have the same units, so I can go ahead and add them. So we have our 8.6 meters. And remember, when you're adding decimals, to line up your decimals. So I'm going to write my 0.34 underneath it. And then add. Remember, the placeholders can be zeros, or you can use your calculator. And this comes out to be 8.94, and then don't forget the meters. So remember, if they have the same units, we can just add them together. And then number 67, it says 15 kilometers minus 2,360 meters. Well, this time we do not have the same units, so the first thing we want to do is either convert from kilometers into meters or meters into kilometers. I'm going to take my kilometers and I'm going to convert it into meters. So remember, locate the kilometers in the list. And we're going to count how many places we need to go over to meters. So starting at kilometers, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So 3 places to the right. So we have 15. There's your decimal. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So 15 kilometers is the same as saying 15,000 meters. So now we have 15,000 meters. And we're going to subtract our 2,360 meters. So underneath it, I'm going to write my minus 2,360 meters. Subtract the 2, and we should end up with 12,640 meters. So 12,640 meters. Or you can have your answer as 12.64 kilometers. Make sure you write the units and they mean exactly the same thing. Okay, so this will conclude our video for 5.4. Please email me if you have any questions.